Hi, and welcome back to another episode of aNERDspective, where I, Tony from aNERDgallery, sit down with friends all over the world to talk and to learn new perspectives around Indonesian textile art. Today, I'll be talking to Syahida, who is a textile researcher from Kelantan, Malaysia, whose research interests in the development of local wisdom as well as knowledge transfer within the textile industries. And do grab your beverage of choice, sit back, relax, and enjoy Shahida's aNERDspectives. Welcome, Shahidas, to today's episode of aNERDspectives. How are you doing there in Kelantan?
Okay. Hi, Tony. Nice to meet you. And I'm good in Kelantan. Even in the pandemic, I'm still outdoor.
Yes,
So have some of the environment, right?
yes, definitely.
Okay.
This is like my first time I have a guest with outdoor background, which is very refreshing to see. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So I kind of like saw your work when you were talking to Umi in one of her podcasts talking about Malaysian textiles. And
Yeah.
then we got in touch, and I looked through your work, which you are currently studying or pursuing a PhD in natural dyes
Yes.
and textiles. Uh, and yeah, I would really love to find out more about your perspectives from as an academics researching on local wisdom and knowledge transfer and how it is applied to textiles. And probably before we get on to our discussion, you would like
Mhm.
to do a little introduction about yourselves and how you get in touch with textiles and so on.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nurul Syahida. I'm academic researcher. And then I'm interested in local wisdom, which is local wisdom related actually, and especially in traditional textile and its local practices. And then I'm like what you says, I'm currently pursuing my study in Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, which is located in Kelantan, which I'm very grateful to have to be here. And actually, I'm born in Kelantan. I'm studying in Kelantan, and it's flooded with the rich culture of arts. Actually, the center of knowledge. But I can say that that's invisible for me at the young age. It only comes when I'm directly involved with the academic journey. So that's how I involved in local textile. And actually, I do love. I can say this. I do love the behind the scene in making textile, which is the human second skin. I can say that human second skin, because we are actually born naked, right? So what's the purpose of textile is to cover us from the weather, from the protection of our skin and everything else. So that's a little bit from me, and this is my journey of researching about the textile and about the local knowledge as well. I have involved with the some of the indigenous people to transfer the knowledge of how to dye the textile, how to how to process the dye from their own surroundings and apply that to the textile, and it can be one of to generate their income or some sort of tourist attraction. And instead of that, we want that local knowledge become flourish and always been practiced. Even it's not only for the practitioners, that local practitioners prior. It's also for the everyone who interested in that.
I like the way that you describe it as the second human second skin. How do you get in touch with textiles in the first place?
Actually, it's about curiosity kill. Okay, it's about curiosity. When I'm it started from my childhood because my mother was a tailor, so
Yes.
uh, so she got lots of textile, right? So I'm just looking at what is this pattern, and my sister and mom wearing sarong. So why you are just wearing sarong without any top clothes? Just I'm just curious. So I don't have the answer. I don't have the sources that share the knowledge about the process. What is that? I'm just know from the environment. I believe. So once I'm pursuing my degree, so my lecturer, when I go and see my lecturer, she just says that go and explore, go and access the workplace, and then get in touch with the senior, get in touch with the practitioners. So I'm just reading, and then the curiosity is come, and then the access is there. So I'm just exploring, and then this is nice. And then once then I go into the history and go to the people who practice that. So that bring me to the next level for my master studies. I'm also in actually the major of my study is in batik practices. And then for master, I go for gold thread embroidery that practice in Kelantan, which called kelingkan. Okay, so for my PhD, I'm pursuing also into the practices. I'm looking for the practices, but I'm into the natural dyes practice.
Nice. So it's literally Kelantan is the backyard. I mean the knowledge of textiles in your backyard, right? That you
Yes,
just like go out and explore.
yeah.
That's really lucky. How many practitioners are there in Kelantan, or like textiles in general?
Each actually is we can categorize into several. Like we have songket, we have kelingkan itself. Batik I can say that there's too many people, there's too many practitioners. But as what I go through, we have to decide that which is they really practice, or uh, they are only the vendors, because actually they can talk about batik like they are doing. So sometimes we are actually you are doing batik. Oh no, I am just know
Just
this.
setting.
uh, so batik, I can say we can find there's so many practitioners in batik making, but it's at least on natural dyeing process practitioners. And then we got some that's the major, which means we have songket, the noon weaving, and then we have batik, we have gold thread embroidery.
Mhm.
That's the major
I see.
textile.
But mostly are in batik.
Yes.
I see. Okay,
Mm-mm.
and just a very small fraction of that does natural dyes.
Yes. In Kelantan especially, I can categorize that they are practicing three types of dyeing process, which is the most practicing is Rimazole dyeing process. Okay, the second one I can put that Naphthol dyeing process,
Mm.
and then the least one natural dyeing process, because of as far I can say that I'm only found a few practitioners which is from the local purely Kelantanese that purely practice the natural dyes. And this is you we can say that they are doing this kind of variety of dyeing process because they are not neglecting the environment, but they lack of knowledge. They lack of knowledge in sustainable management implementation, and I would say that it's highly cost to handle the wastage. And then they want the fast process, of course. It's quite sad for me when I approach the practitioners who practice with the chemical. um I can see their hand got harmed, and then that's because of the 20, 30 years of experience. So it's kind of a painful for me because they want to preserve the heritage, but they have to suffer that. So we have to come up with the alternative that we can reduce. I can say that we cannot vanish all the process, all the chemical process. I can say that, but we can reduce the the detriment to them.
For those that you mentioned, they are practicing natural dyes. Are those they have been like practicing for a long time, like a knowledge that is being passed down from their parents or grandparents, or is something that they just recently picked up?
For those one who have I have met, they he was practices. He's the initial for this thing, for the natural dyings. He started when his passion in dyeing process, which is he loved to explore, which is nowadays was going to pass to her daughter, so it's second generation now. But what's intrigued me here, what's the interesting here, um he study on his own, which is in the medical perspective, natural dyes, but in medical perspective. But he cannot get the recognition because he got no scientific research, no medical certificate. But he tests to his surrounding when he got one of the thing that I can share, that we use the turmeric to dye the textile, and turmeric has some heat, and it can cover the fever for some disease. So that's interesting for me, but unfortunately it's not going to be easy to get the sharing from him because I'm not I'm not the relative that.
Yes,
So
interesting.
the documentation, I'm not sure that he's not sharing his documentation.
Oh, interesting that he approached it from textile and medicinal properties as
Yes.
well. And then going probably asking a little bit more about your research in terms of your research process. If you can share a little bit of your process from the ideation and then your research methodologies. How do you approach the subject?
Before that, I would like to give an overview. The what's the draw the this research topic actually. Actually, I've got interested with the culture construct, which is construct into the from 7 elements actually, which is social organization, language, economy, religion, knowledge system, technology, and artifact. So these elements, when they have been paired or when they have been emerged, they used to become something. For example, I could give the language and artifact. Those two elements can give the semantic elements, which is can give the meaning behind the textile, meaning behind the motif itself. And then for my studies, I'm go through the local wisdom from knowledge system and also the technology. So it create the local wisdom there, or sometimes we call some tribe says that indigenous knowledge. So there is interaction between humans and environment. That's interesting for me because that's become an issue nowadays. The issue of sustainability and preservation. Okay, right. I see this that we want to preserve heritage. We want to sustain our environment. We love them all, both, but we still practicing the chemical dyeing process. So this is the kick off of my study about the words technology of natural dyes. I'm saying in my ongoing thesis. I'm looking for the term technology, which is nowadays people would say that technology is about the current technology using machineries, but they have forgot that without traditional technology, there's no current technology. So this kind of technology, I can say that it's a production methods that emerges the knowledge, skills, and technique. So in my research, there's probably I'm start with the my ideation from the culture view, and then I'm go through just what I said first. um, I'm go to the issues, and then I approach the practitioners as I decide that from the literature, because we can say that the gap between the practitioners, the academician, and the consumer itself is very huge, because there's a lot of studies saying that natural dyes can be revived during the innovation by innovations. This says that you can use freeze drying method, you can use spray drying method, and they find everything how to cut off the local knowledge process itself. If can I say here, the local knowledge itself or local wisdom itself has a few keywords that we can emphasize that. I can say here that one is what I got interesting in the keywords I have here. It's a process of experience, but in Malay we can put it as pengalaman. That's what we can interpret that even the naturalize the knowledge itself. Pengalaman, that's natural dice, warna alam, zat warna
Yeah.
alam.
Yes.
So that's interesting. So that's the process of experience first, and the second one is the everyday routine for them, for the locals, everyday routines, and that's why they have no systematic ways to measure their own dice. So then they are problem solving, I can say that, when they have to face some of the textile, they want this textile become very vivid color, they explore more, they solve the problem. Okay, so two more, mediocre process, they use very medium process and tools that we can call that long way process, right? Try and error process, so they enjoy doing that. Okay, I can share here also when I'm doing my observation. Actually, it's my research journey. So one of the method, which is I have to go for interview. observing and participate with them. What's interesting, I cannot just interview. I can say like that because they want us to practice. They want us, okay, because one of the thing that I'm grateful because the dialect. I can speak Londonese. I can speak London dialect, so that's more comfortable for them. So when I approach them, they say that like, okay, just come to my house and see the process. Okay, when go to the site, when go to the house, uh, we actually cannot observe it, just observe.
Yeah.
We have to practice. We
Yeah, you
have
have to
to
experience that.
experience that. So once we are making mistake or like it's it's very tired actually. It's very tired doing natural dyes. We have to endure it from the morning until the evening, and actually maybe until night. So
Mm.
just experience that. Just hang in there actually. So once sometimes we I have learned from the literature what's the process of natural dyes, but when we are with them, they are sharing something that precious for us, that we have to appreciate what they have experienced. uh, Okay. For example, I can say that he just say like this for me. Okay, just take that from his surrounding. Okay, just take that and put into the pot, and then you just boil it. I just say that, is it this kind of leaf can give you colors? I'm just saying it in my heart, and then I just follow the flow, and then he just showing how to process, and then he just take the fabric, and then he just soak it. I'm just, is it just is that's the process. So he got the color, and says that it's okay. It can be the background. Then it should with the pattern after that. So I'm just saying that they are exploring, they are accepting, because natural dyes giving you very surprising and disappointment colors, right? But from the way they appreciate that, says that don't worry about the process, just enjoy, because this is that once you make a textile, you don't worry, because there will be an owner. So an owner. So I'm just okay. Sometimes I got afraid that if I'm doing textile, this kind of range of colors that not very vivid color, dull color, people will hate this. But for them, they see that once you have the textile, it's already have the owner. That's very interesting for me.
Yes, definitely. Because we tend to put textiles with commercial value, right?
Yeah.
And what the customer demands. And there are certain probably like color ranges that we need to achieve and hence
Yes.
they improve, try and test it. And there's like very, very interesting insights, the way that they look at textiles,
Yes.
like the casual response to it, that there is an owner that has already been kind of like chosen by someone up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. And you mentioned something about local wisdom, which I find myself is a very interesting concept. Because I think in Bahasa Indonesia they call it kearifan lokal, which
Yeah.
is something. Is that how you call that in Bahasa Melayu as well? Uh,
We call kearifan tempatan.
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like in probably like the older generation is just wisdom.
Yes, yeah. The
This is what they
genius.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now we kind of like, oh, localize it because that is kind of like a treasure in that particular area. And you mentioned earlier there is, that the man was kind of like not sharing as much because you are not essentially a family member. And how do you actually kind of interact with that?
Okay, that's interesting to ask about how I connect with the local practitioners. Actually, it's not one day or half day communication with them. I'm actually go for them 1 day, 2 day, a week, and 2 weeks, and keep in touch with them. Talking about sometimes we have talking about non-related with dyeing process,
Yeah.
but we learn uh, uh, we listen to their own struggle nowadays. So when we listen to them, they are willing to share something with us. And then it's not because of we want something and we go for them. But for me, it's about I can say about the humanistic value actually. When we go to them, we come with we want to learn. And one of the thing I can say that for the local practitioners, especially that prior from the local, they love who want to study and learn because we will listen to him or her precisely without any complaint. Right? So they are willing to share. One of the I can share here two things. One of the practitioners says to me that when I'm sitting on the yard or in his place, he says that look at that tree. He says, what color that leaf can give. So I say, I don't know. It has green. All the leaf has green colors. So he says that you look into the falling leaf on surroundings. It which means at the roots. So and then you have to know what type of soil used in that particular trees there. So you have the idea that when you are making natural dyes, which is you take that color, you can say, okay, this kind of leaf with acidic, with alkaline value, you can have this kind of color. So I'm not thinking that wow he can say that. So to, for today's I'm just when I'm walking around I say that I'm not just only looking at the leaf as before. I'm looking at the bottom of where is fall off. So that's that's very interesting that they can collect that kind of experience, that kind of knowledge. That sometimes I can say that we are terlepas pandang. We are past that, right? We only looking upwards, and we are not looking from the bottom. That's kind
Yeah.
of
What sort of plants do they normally use for natural dyeing?
In here, we can say that they are using very common, very nearest surrounding materials because they also says that they don't want to harm the environment because when they collect that, maybe it can harm some of the plant. So they will go for the plant with the whether the local people, the community themselves want to clear the place, and then they go and get that materials. One is mango leaf. Okay, one is katapa, which is I'm in at the seaside. So katapa leaf, katapang, and we have turmeric. We have turmeric is I can say that the core of colors to enhance to we can say that that's like additional flavor for the practice, because it has a very vivid color. So they just dip it into the last process to get the color. Okay.
I see.
So generally they use the surrounding materials, leaf, or from I'm also going to the some of workshop in Pahang. They also works on the soil, which is bauxite. They use bauxite to make a dye too. But in Kelantan,
Bauxite.
we are not using soil. We are all plant related.
So actually, they do this for to sell, right? Or it's just for exploration?
Some of them are doing this for selling. Some of them are doing this for exploration. It's actually become a selling after that,
I see.
because for them, with the colors that what just I say, it's not very interesting. But we can explore it more, and when it's explore and explore and explore, it comes to the end when the owner of the textile come, I want to buy this. So they just buy.
Yeah.
Okay. The main point is they actually sell them for their money, to gain the money. But it's actually the exploration itself. They explore the technique, the process.
The second part of your research is on the knowledge transfer. So, how would you encourage these practitioners in terms of knowledge, documentation, and so on?
Knowledge transfer can be into practically, and we can say uh, in terms of knowledge dissemination. And the second one is about the practical. For me, I can see that knowledge dissemination first would like to be emphasized, because I would say this, the identity of the community. I can say that natural dyes become one's community identity or the state identity. We can say that the identity of the community will be faded. Will be faded when no one or a few can tell about their culture process, about the process of the artifact. So the knowledge dissemination is the first place where me in this research line, we go into to the sometimes we go to the community that doesn't know anything about batik. So like we have in one grant, we go to indigenous people in Jeli, and then we give the knowledge about batik first, and then after that, when they know about batik, they will ask about the process. Can we do this? Can we do this? So at the same time, we have practically transfer the knowledge. So they have the skill, and then within the time, they will develop their own technology based on their surroundings. That's we want the chain of the knowledge transfer.
So it's kind of like there is a so-called entry point. For example, you use batik, and then that's kind of like expand onto the other aspects of knowledge, be it in terms of expansion of the batik technique itself, like the waxing or whether cap tulis and so on, as well as the dyeing that they can explore and adapt it locally.
That's the point that because I can say people will not know the process when they just see the textile. Okay, just for the experience that people will say that batik is very expensive. Why they are very expensive? They only can be wear 1 year, and then it will probably shrink because our body are not in the diet mode, right? So I have the experience to get mad with this kind of situation. They are not knowing the value of the process, how the sweat of the person doing that, the idea, the expression of the patterns they put into the surface as the decoration of the textile itself. That's only the surface, but in deepen of that, they are not seeing that thing. So after we say that okay, this is batik. I'm very open to say that if the new generation or somewhere who want to know about the local textile, it's okay to feel that okay, this is a printed one, this is the original one, this is from machinery one. It's okay, just know there is local textile, and then there's various of technology implied nowadays. So when they can categorize the type of the textile they have, they will say, why this kind, or why this textile is cheaper than this one? What's the quality? So they will go to the process. Oh, this is handmade, this is machinery made. So this kind of knowledge dissemination first.
You mentioned earlier about this knowledge gap between like the academia, the practitioners, and the consumers is very huge. And I think like one that you just touched upon, which is like the dissemination that could help the consumers to understand more about textiles. Okay, probably we go like step by step in terms of, for example, technology research and practitioners. So as you mentioned, there are technologies, drying technique, freeze dries and stuff. How would that be transferred or applied to practitioners? How can we bridge this gap between laboratory research and a practical use?
I would say that's a disappointed point that I would say that's never go to the practitioners, local practitioners. They only assess doing a research at the laboratory. So when we ask about why we are not going to the local, they says that they don't want the change. It's actually uh we can say that a stigma that's not true. They love to have some of approach, but they are also have the obstacle, which is they don't have any support in term of money or funding, we can say, because they cannot set up the machineries there, because in laboratory it's kind of procedure SOP, right? In the making process, they are not doing like that, because in laboratory they only use the small samples, and this is what I see, that the laboratory only work on themselves. And then in term of local practitioners, they are doing their practice. But what I can say, I'm just involved with one of the, I can say it's local practitioners plus laboratorium person, which is she practice the local practice, and but it's actually give me an alternative, give me a thought that for example, to treat the fabric, to know that the color fastness, or the color fastness of the fabric, which is good or not. This says that um just use the sun to know the color fastness. Yeah, just use the soap that's normal soap to know the washing fastness. So it's kind of doing that kind of SOP, which is actually she combines between laboratory and local practices, but in term of using the surrounding. But when it comes to the commercial or practitioners, they are saying that it's okay. The color we faded anyway. So that kind of procedures at the end will not be the end. They just looking for the exploration. They just looking for the colors. So I would say that there is no interconnection between the practices enhancing the natural dying's value, colors value, but it's okay. That's the innovation. That's the technology and innovation assistant that we someday we don't know. We can say that we can produce something that for one place to get natural dying place itself. We emerging the local knowledge practices and laboratorium.
Yes, even though like they are essentially in silos, the technologies could be applied to something else. It would be nice if they work together, but like
Yes.
the technology, for example, the technology of freeze drying, it could be applied to other sectors as well.
I agree with your point that it can be used to another part of arts. In the practitioners that I'm go through, I can categorize three types of practitioners that I can say, which is local practitioners, contemporary practitioners, and also the academicians. So why I can say they cannot be emerged for the practice process because of their strength. They have their own strength. They have their own knowledge that have been built for 30 to 40 to 50 years that I have to give up this. So that's the point there. And then for me, the diversity of the knowledge is to respect each other's knowledge. So we have the variety of innovation after this.
Yeah, likewise, I agree totally in terms of like the diversity. What are some of the challenges that you face during your research?
It can be humanistic side, and second is practically. Okay, for the first one, in humanistic side, I can say to approach the practitioners. So, just what I said earlier, to approach them, I have to use the dialect. We have to learn, we have to sit, we have to eat with them, drink with them, and just knowing all the things about their family. So I know their daughter, their son, their neighbor. So we listen, and then because we want to know the environment of themselves, because I want to know which is they want to pass that their knowledge to their generation. So we have to look forward for that too. So that's not a challenge. Actually, I can put that. It is opportunity for me to get in touch in them, so I would overcome with the snowball method, which is I know this person, and then contacting the person he mentioned, and then the second one mentioned, and then I go to the third one. Okay, so that's we call the snowball method. Okay. So that's how I'll overcome the obstacle. I don't know who practice the natural dyes, who practice the batik making, who's practice the naphtha dyeing process. So I got that into snowballs information. Okay. The second thing, the challenge I face is how to feel the practice of natural dyeing process myself, because doing things in front of our sifu is very challenging,
Very stressful.
stressful. So I thought that what's their feeling with this a slow process. For them, they are experts, so they can just dip there, boil there, just a small matter for them. But for me, that is it's very stressful to follow that their SOP. But when it is come to the practice, I will practice this on my own, by doing by referring to the steps, try and error process actually. In Kelantan, in practitioners that I have met, I observed that they have they only have postmodern thing methods only. And then they rarely or seldomly use pre-modern thing or simultaneous modern thing. So that's kind of thing that the laboratorium not achieve, not pass that kind of knowledge to them. Maybe they use the process, but that's very small chances to use the process. When I'm doing the exploration myself, I'm looking at that's pre-modern thing and simultaneous modern thing actually give a colors. So it will give three different range colors by doing three these practices. But for the practitioners, they are looking for the final that give very vivid color, because pre-modern thing usually give very fade color. Simultaneous, it's not very stable. Sometimes it give a surprising color range. Sometimes it give a very dull color.
So it seems that the things that you do is to kind of like build rapport and familiarity to it. And also like one of the interesting that you pointed out is probably that you can bring in some of this knowledge from academia and discuss it with them, which I think is like very interesting. What materials do you use for the modern thing, pre-modern thing, and subsequent modern things? Mostly
Okay.
multimodal.
Okay, for the modern thing, I have identified that the process of natural dyeing practices among the locals, they have been manipulated, the process, because the first thing I have identified, which is the element of technology practice in the natural dyeing process, which come with the extraction, modern thing, and dyeing. And when it comes with the laboratory approach, they have color measurement and also color fasting. But in terms of when we identify the elements that natural dyeing practice, we can say that the modern thing they use is part of they can manipulate. which is we have now they practice the chemical modern itself, which is they have sulfate, they have copper, which is it can be replaced with the biomodern actually. So but they are not using biomodern because one of the thing uh, that's that's not used. For example, we have I don't know in the citric one, the citrus, and then belimbing buluh. Okay,
Yes.
that's the biomodern that they can use actually, and actually they can use another colors to become the modern itself. Uh, but they are not doing that anymore. There's something that they are just purchase the modern in at the chemical suppliers, and then they says that okay, citric is similar to this. Okay, so that's the elements of technology I have identified in this process can be we can expect where the place or where the process that can be manipulated by the practitioners, by the innovators after this. For example, we can say that the extractions, the innovator or the researcher can manipulate into the different from local. They have long time consuming, but they can use oven to overheat the materials, pressure cooker. They use that kind of approach. But in terms of modern thing, they can use biomodern or chemical modern. What we can replace that into biomodern, we can use charcoal actually. We can charcoal can be used from the gelam tree, or we can use from banana tree or bark is bark. So that's one of the process they don't want to explore yet, because for them the exploration is for the colors first, not modern thing. Modern thing comes with the chemicals. It's okay. That's the way we see the elements of technology in natural dyeing process.
Yes, definitely is a whole spectrum, right? That is, you cannot just explore everything at one go. So it's kind of like a step by step thing. And what are some of the opportunities and threats that you see in terms of natural dyeing in Malaysia?
One of the opportunity, what can I say, is innovation study that enhances the process dyeing without neglecting the environment and also the practitioners itself, because it's very one of the reports says that 10 to 2020, 60% of humans are allergic to chemicals, dyeing, or chemicals things. So it's kind of worry, because every day we face the chemical things, and we try to not vanish but reduce that for our own sake, for our practitioners, for consumers and environment.
Very, very interesting. And definitely I can see the huge opportunities there. How far along in your research? Like how many more years to go do you
Yes, right.
for your PhD?
Uh, I'm on the stage in writing, and also for my triangulate my data with the practitioners.
I see.
Yeah.
So I would guess like in the near future is uh to have you like complete your thesis. Yes, we have been talking for a while, and probably before we close off our conversation, do you have any final closing conclusion?
I would say that that's for my conclusion for this long way topic. I actually, uh, Okay, for the conclusion, I can give the conclusion for today's topic. I can say that what I hope to the um, local textile and natural dyes in the future, I could say that if you want to have one kind of identity, we have to go through into the history, because before this, while I'm doing the research, we also seen the history of Cik Siti Wang Kembang. How's her attire. I'm also know that Thailand also have women's leadership. In Indonesia also have women's leadership. They have their own colors, and it's got interesting if we can get the colors, because they are doing the textile. They display the textile, portray the textile through the women's leadership, and they are doing the textile using natural dyeing process, still doing natural dyeing process. So it's kind of a very interesting topic. Maybe someone with history background, because I'm only looking at the surface. So I just know a little bit. So when we are putting the meaning behind the artwork, instead of focusing on the production or academic gain, so it's kind of value added for us, which is we can use the elements of culture, language, and artifact. We emerging that. So I can say here that for the artisan itself, I can say that the textile will never got noticed without surface decoration done by the artist. Because I say that the textile with the plain color of white, people will say that that's just a white color, but the artisan give the expression behind the scene. They have the process. So you keep doing this and reconduct the local practice. I can say not only resurgence the precious local knowledge, but give an affirmative side towards the developing identity through local knowledge, skills, and also the technologies itself. I can say that.
Yes, very nicely summed up, very precise and succinct in terms of giving how we perceive knowledge transfer and how we can build identities and technologies that is suited to our uh, localities, to our environment and
Yes.
surroundings. We have like a lot of things to discuss, and yeah, I mean, it is a very, very interesting conversation, and I again have a lot of new revelations. But yes, unfortunately, we need to kind of sum up so that my editor doesn't have headache. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much again, Shahida, for sharing today. I definitely gained a lot of food for thought for our future discussions, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you like this interview, do check out our previous chats with other guests over on our IGTV, or read it all in our website www.aNERDgallery.com. Do follow us on social media at aNERDgallery on Facebook and Instagram to find out more about future events and happenings. And until next time, stay safe and take care.